I played MLB The Show 25 early and I got some thoughts I would like to share. But I will be focusing on gameplay and content because basically those are the two things that can make or break an MLB The Show game. If you remember MLB The Show 18, that game is known as the worst in the franchise, and it's because the gameplay and content just wasn't there. And then in MLB The Show 23, 24, a lot of people didn't really like the sets and seasons, but the gameplay was a lot better. And MLB The Show 25 might have both things down. So I will be focusing on gameplay and content and kind of like my expectations on the game. But first and foremost, shout out to SDS and the folks over at MLB The Show for having me and a bunch of other creators over to Arizona to get our hands on the game early and get to see everything. And when I say everything, we were able to play offline modes and online modes. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start with the gameplay. I was able to play it on gold difficulty and use ambush hitting, see everything regarding the reaction and fielding that we've heard. So I was able to play it on gold difficulty and use ambush hitting. Those are kind of like two of the main additions to gameplay. I was worried about ambush hitting being a little bit overpowered, but after using it, I don't really think that's the case. I'm more curious to see how people use it because there is some strategy involved when it comes to hitting, but also in pitching. As a hitter, you have to try to read your pitchers and its tendencies. And as a pitcher, you have to do the same for the hitter. And that's where ambush hitting comes in. I think a lot of people are going to be using when they're ahead in the count because it is the smart thing to do. Now, ambush hitting on gold difficulty might be impossible because as far as gold difficulty is concerned, it is obviously more difficult than legend. But if you're somebody that plays on legend consistently and have been for the past few years, I think you'll be able to adjust after just a few games. I don't think it's that much more difficult than the other one. Like PCI is definitely smaller and pitch speeds might be a little bit faster, maybe like a tick faster on the slider, but nothing too crazy. My concern with this difficulty is the slider shrinking the PCI. And SDS did confirm with us that shrinking the PCI is an intentional part to help a lot of the times help limit the foul balls. And that was a big problem for the last couple of years. But the reason why this is concerning, it's because it can become the meta and every game has a meta and that's fine. But the last couple of years, we've seen the Race Invitational. And this is where top players will play with Race Live Series cards. We're talking about silver, bronzes, golds, right? So smaller PCIs, and this is on legend as well. And what we saw there is that pitchers were spamming sliders because of the PCI shrinkage. They were using lower overall cards and the PCI was smaller because of it, but it was a slider fest. I think we'll have to wait and see how players adapt to gold difficulty and that PCI shrinkage in that difficulty. Now, when it comes to fielding, we did see and heard that defense will matter this year, and trust me when I tell you this, it will. Reaction on fielders will be a very important attribute, and just because of how different the jumps are when comparing a yellow jump to a blue one, right? Keep in mind that blue one is a perfect jump, green is going to be the good one, and then yellow is going to be the bad one. The fielder and reaction attribute will impact the rate of these jumps, and trust me, you will see the difference. Another area where fielding will have an impact, it will be in the new home run robbery meter, but it will take some getting used to. The better defender, the better the chance of robbing the home run, but it also goes hand to hand with the user input and timing. So it's going to be very interesting. I was able to try it out and practice on practice mode, and it's going to be interesting. So with defense, we'll probably have to keep in mind when building our teams. We got to remember we're going to have lower overall cards at the beginning. So we might have some very good defenders and bad offensive players, or the other way around. So we'll have to kind of like mix and match. I think it's going to be very important as well to build a solid bench. You might want to have that defensive replacement on the bench. You might want to have that pinch hitter on the bench as well. And I think they will come in handy, especially early in the game before we get to the 99 overalls. And staying in the defense topic, I absolutely love the change that they did to the perfect throws. Now the perfect region will be towards the end of the bar and after the green or the good area. So it does make it a lot more risk reward, and it's not super difficult to hit the perfect, obviously, especially depending on the attribute of the fielder, but it definitely makes you think before trying to go to perfect. You don't have to go to perfect. You don't need a perfect throw every single time either. Another change that is coming to MLB The Show 25 that will impact gameplay probably the most we've seen, honestly, is going to be the changes to elevation in most of the popular stadiums. No minor league stadium will have more than 3,000 feet of elevation. And the big three, and I'm calling the big three Laughing Mountain, Shieldwoods, and Capitol Range. I think all of them were max elevation this past year. All will have an elevation of under 1,000. And trust me, it makes a huge difference. I played a couple games at Laughing Mountain, and 510-foot home run in 2024 it was more like 450 this year, and that is a huge difference. Because of that, I do assume that most people will start playing at Coors Field because it does play well for a major league stadium and it does have high elevation. And we'll still probably see some Ship-it Stadium there because I think people feel comfortable at that stadium as well, and the dimension probably help as well. So let's talk about content. We all know sets and seasons are gone. I think most people are happy with that decision, and we're going back to the power curve. And at launch, we'll all probably feel a little bit overwhelmed just because of there's going to be so much to do, but I will have a day one Diamond Dynasty guide, kind of like what to do on the first day on Diamond Dynasty. So make sure to subscribe for that. But the good thing about content this year is that you can play the game how you want it to play. For me personally, I'll be focusing on trying to get the live series collections done as soon as possible because trust me, you need to do the same. Having those collection rewards is a huge advantage, especially early in the year. But we also have team affinity for every single team. So we'll have a ton of budget beats to pick from, rewards, stubs, packs. As you grind all of these different programs and all these different team affinities, you will get a ton of packs, a ton of stubs, a ton of XP. So all of that will help you towards that what I think the end goal of the live series collection. I also got the chance to play the new mode Diamond Quest. It seems to be like a combination of Conquest, Showdown, moments, kind of like all put together, which I think those of you that love the offline mode will really enjoy. I'm probably going to use this mode to grind, and there's some very good rewards that they showed us yesterday. And we will probably be getting a ton of good rewards in Diamond Quest because they want us to play that mode. The reason why they would want us to play that mode is for us to give them feedback and for them to know if Diamond Quest was a good addition to the game, to Diamond Dynasty, especially to those offline players. Let's talk about legends. We do have what I think is a great class of legends, including Manny Ramirez, Roger Clemens, Ted Williams. Those three names alone make any legend class a good one. But those are not the only big names. We're getting a ton of names. We're getting a ton of good cards. It's a very good class. And with the legends, they already announced an 85 overall Ted Williams. So we will have a day one overall Ted Williams. And we're getting a bunch of new legends on day one that we'll be able to get, whether it's early in a program or a team affinity grind, which is not even that bad. I'll have a video on that as well. Another huge addition to the game in Diamond Dynasty, and one that we've all been waiting for, honestly, is Weekend League. We all kind of know how it works now and know there will be a ton of great rewards on it. One thing that came up with my conversation with some of the devs while I was in Arizona was about friendly quits in Weekend Classic. I still don't have a clear answer on that. We'll have to wait and see, but I think that's gonna be key. Because of the rewards that are at stake, I personally don't think friendly quits should be in Weekend Classic. They're already in ranked seasons. They are not in BR. So I don't know. We'll wait and see on that one. Another change that I'm more curious about what you guys think is the new multiplayer program that they talked about yesterday. The fact that you can gain progress in a program regardless of where you play, I think is interesting. We're no longer going to have to go to events for a specific reward. You still have BR and your flawless for theirs, but they don't have their specific program, and the same thing for rank. Everything will be in one program. Now, when it comes to the World Series and BR rewards, I'm leaving event out because we won't have specific event rewards, but those rewards won't be added to the program until the following program. So once the rank seasons and BR season ends, the next program, the next multiplayer programs will be open, or a new one, and then that Mickey Mantle and Steve Carlton will be added there. So it'll be a little late, like they might be outdated, but you still have to collect the cards. It will help in the long run. Now, one good thing about this is that I think the World Series reward and the flawless rewards, those rewards are going to maintain their value. They're going to be expensive. So if you can make stubs, if you can make World Series, or you go 10-0, you will be able to sell at a very good price. Now let's talk about packs. Packs was a huge thing in MLB The Show 24. It started hearing about, oh, it's pay to win because we had Dogs on the Pond set 1, Dogs on the Pond set 2 or 3, and you had to go to the show shop and buy the packs, or go to the market and buy the cards that were on that pack to keep collecting and try to work your way in the collections. I did talk to some of the devs, and that is something that they will be very intentional this year, and we should not be seeing a whole lot of those. We're still gonna get our regular headliner packs and stuff like that, but it shouldn't be a pack overload like we had last year. And I think they just want us to focus on grinding, playing the game, getting some of the rewards in the programs, and not necessarily have to buy them. And also, if you get some of the rewards, you can also sell them and make a little bit of penny, and you can kind of like buy them back when the prices go down. So we'll see how that works in MLB The Show 25. Overall, I'm extremely excited for MLB The Show 25, and I think most of the community is as well from what I've seen on social media. Let me know down in the comment section below, but keep voicing your opinions and filling out the surveys, because As you can see, all of these changes are happening because of that. They are listening to us. I'm looking forward to a big year. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Comment down below your thoughts on MLB The Show 25 and what we heard so far. And happy launch eve. I think that's a term.